The cold steel of the balcony railing bit into my palms as I tumbled over. The Hudson River rushing up like a black maw. My son-in-law's whisper echoed in my ears. The greatest gift is if you disappear. But as the water claimed me, I realized the truth. He hadn't just pushed me. He'd erased me, my fortune, my family, all for his greed. And then, in the void, time cracked open, spitting me back into the body of Josephine Hale, 55 years old, heart pounding in the exact morning before it all began unraveling. I bolted upright in my king-sized bed in the Upper West Side brownstone, sheets tangled like the lies I'd soon untangle. The digital clock glowed 7:15 a.m., October 15th, 2005, the day my daughter Emily introduced me to her fiancé, Victor Langford. My hands, unmarred by the arthritis that had crippled them in my final life, trembled as I touched my face.
Smooth skin.
No wrinkles from years of bitterness. I died at 75, broken and alone after Victor's machinations stripped me bare.
But now?
Now I was back, armed with every filthy secret he'd buried. The mirror in the ensuite bathroom confirmed it. Sharp cheekbones, auburn hair without the silver streaks, eyes like polished emeralds that had once trusted too easily. I was Josephine Hale again, widow of a Wall Street titan, guardian of an $890 million empire built on real estate and tech investments. Victor had charmed his way in, married Emily, then systematically dismantled it all. He'd forged documents to siphon funds, gaslit Emily into believing I was senile, and finally, that fatal push from our family yacht during a reconciliation cruise. The cops ruled it suicide. Emily mourned for a week before Victor consoled her into signing over the remnants. Not this time. This time, I'd make him disappear, legally, painfully, and with every dollar clawed back. But revenge wasn't clean. It was a blade that cut both ways. I'd have to become the monster he accused me of being, ruthless, deceptive, willing to shatter the innocent to gut the guilty. Emily, my only child, would hate me before she thanked me. And God help me, I might hate myself more. I dressed in a crisp Chanel suit, the fabric whispering against skin that still remembered hospital gowns and neglect. Downstairs, the brownstones smelled of fresh coffee and Mrs. Kowalski's cinnamon rolls, my housekeeper, loyal until Victor paid her off in my first life. Morning, Mrs. Hale, she chirped from the kitchen, oblivious to the storm brewing in my veins. Big day with your daughter? Bigger than she knows, I replied, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Emily arrived at 8:30 sharp, her laughter bubbling like champagne as she breezed through the door, Victor trailing like a shadow in bespoke Armani. He was 32 then, all chiseled jaw and Ivy League polish, the kind of man who made boardrooms bow and widows question their instincts.
Mom.
You look amazing, Emily gushed, hugging me tight. At 28, she was a vision, blonde waves, yoga-toned, fresh from her graphic design job at a Soho firm. Victor extended a hand, his grip firm, eyes lingering a beat too long on the emerald necklace at my throat. That piece alone was worth $50,000. He'd pawned it in life one to fund his first affair. Josephine. A pleasure as always, he said, voice smooth as aged bourbon. Emily's told me so much about your empire. Hale Holdings, it's legendary. I held his gaze. The words I'd longed to spit now coiled like a serpent. Instead, I played the part, warm, welcoming, the doting mother-in-law-to-be. Flattery will get you everywhere, Victor.
Come.
Let's brunch on the terrace. I've got mimosas chilling. As we settled under the autumn sun, Emily chattering about wedding colors, ivory and gold. Victor's favorites, I watched him like a hawk. In my memories, this was where the seeds were sown. A week after the engagement party, he'd accidentally spill red wine on my late husband's portrait, then offer to have it restored at his trusted gallery. That gallery? A front for laundering the first $200,000 he'd skimmed from my accounts by hacking the CFO's credentials. The secret he'd buried deepest. Victor wasn't just a corporate lawyer. He was the bastard son of my husband's old rival, Harlan Crow, who'd sworn vengeance on the Hale name after Dad crushed his firm in a hostile takeover back in '89. I'd uncovered it too late in life piecing together emails after Emily divorced him, posthumously. For me, Harlan had groomed Victor from boyhood, whispering poisons about how the Hales stole everything. The push from the yacht? Not just greed, it was poetic justice in his twisted mind, avenging Daddy's sins on his widow. But knowledge was my weapon now. Victor, I said casually, sipping my mimosa, tell me about your family. Emily's been cagey, says you're a mystery man. He chuckled. That disarming rumble. Nothing mysterious. Josephine. Grew up in Connecticut. Yale Law. Clerked for a federal judge. Dad passed when I was 10, mom's in Boca now. Remarried. Lies. Everyone. Harlan was alive then. Holed up in a Greenwich estate. Pulling strings. I nodded, feigning interest. Sounds solid. Ever think about family businesses? Mine's always looking for sharp minds. His eyes gleamed, hook, line, sinker. I'd be honored to chat. Hale Holdings could use a fresh perspective. By noon, I'd invited him to shadow me at the office, planting the first trap. Emily beamed, oblivious. See,
Mom?
I told you he'd fit right in. Fit in? I'd make him choke on it. The Hale Holdings headquarters loomed on Park Avenue, a glass monolith reflecting the midday bustle of suits and cabs. My corner office overlooked Central Park, walls lined with deals closed. The Silicon Valley startup I'd backed in '98, now a unicorn. The Miami condos that minted millions. Victor arrived at 2 p.m., tie loosened just so, notebook in hand like an eager intern. Impressive, he murmured, scanning the skyline. Your husband built this from nothing? From smart risks, I corrected, settling behind my desk. And keeping wolves at the bay. I pulled up a file on my ancient Dell. Back then, we still used clunky desktops before the cloud invasion. Let's start with the books. Ever audited a portfolio this size? He leaned in. Cologne Sharp, Acqua di Parma. The scent that haunted my nightmares. As I walked him through dummy ledgers, I'd swapped the real ones with Mrs. Kowalski's help that morning. I dropped breadcrumbs. Heard of Crow Capital? Nasty feud with my late husband. Harlan's boy, think his name was Victor. Tried suing us once. Sloppy work. Victor's jaw tightened imperceptibly. Crow? Rings a vague bell. Ancient history. Not so ancient, I pressed, watching sweat bead on his temple. Rumor has it, the son's still nursing grudges. Fancy that, Langford's an alias. Isn't it? He recovered with a laugh. You're pulling my leg. But hey, if we're trading secrets, what's the real dirt on Hale Holdings? Skeleton in the closet?
Oh.
There were skeletons. Daddy's mistake, the one Victor exploited, was the insider trading scandal he'd buried in '92. A tip on a merger that netted us $10 million but nearly tanked the firm when SEC whisper surfaced. I'd covered it. Loyal daughter. Forging a paper trail that pointed to a dead executive. Victor had dug it up in life. 1. Blackmailing me into gifting him $890,000 as a family loan for his startup, then using it to buy shares he later dumped, crashing our stock 15%.
Today,
I'd flip the script. No skeletons here, Victor. But let's hypothetically say a past error. Would you advise confessing or containing? He smirked, sensing opportunity. Contain. Always. Discretion's the better part of valor. Spoken like a man with practice. I slid a folder across. Fake docs outlining a vulnerability in our pension fund. Ripe for creative accounting. Fix this for me? Prove your mettle. By 5 p.m. He'd taken the bait. Emailing suggestions from his BlackBerry, timestamps I'd screenshot for my growing dossier. That night, alone with a glass of Pinot Noir, I wept for the Emily who'd lose her fairy tale. But tears dried, resolve hardened. Step 1. Infiltrate. Step 2. Expose the bloodline. Weeks blurred into a calculated dance. Victor wined and dined me at Le Bernardin, probing for weaknesses while I fed him just enough rope. Emily glowed through engagement planning, Vegas for the bachelorette. A Park Avenue ceremony.
Mom.
You're the best for warming to Vic, she'd say. Clinking glasses. If only she knew. By Thanksgiving, Victor was consulting full-time. His office a stone's throw from mine. That's when I struck the first blow, anonymous tips to the SEC about Crow Capital's offshore accounts. Routed through a Cayman shell I'd set up Prairie Birth. Harlan's empire quivered. News hit the journal like a gut punch. Crow faces probe in tax evasion scandal. Victor stormed my office December 10th. Face ashen. Josephine. You see this? Harlan Crow. Old enemy. Right? I feigned shock.
Hand to chest.
My God. Poetic. Isn't it? What goes around? His eyes narrowed. The mask slipping. Careful. Some wheels turn slow, but they grind fine. Threats already? And the ring's not even on Emily's finger. I leaned forward. Voice steel. Tell me, Victor, or should I say, young Master Crow, how's Daddy Dearest faring in the crosshairs? He froze. Then laughed, a brittle sound. You're bluffing. Am I? DNA doesn't lie. Nor do adoption records from St. Luke's. 1973. Harlan's indiscretion with the nanny, your mother. He paid her off. But blood calls to blood. The color drained from his face. What do you want? Nothing yet. But marry Emily. And it'll cost you. That $890,000 gift you plan to squeeze? Consider it collateral. He bolted. But the seed festered. Christmas Eve. Emily called in tears. Vic's acting weird.
Mom.
Said something about family curses. Darling, I soothed, hating the lie. Men get cold feet. Give him space. Space to dig his grave. Image prompt, a rain-slicked Manhattan street at dusk. An elegant woman in a trench coat clutching a leather briefcase. Glancing over her shoulder at a shadowy figure in a fedora tailing her through the glow of yellow cabs and steaming grates. Tension etched in the blurred reflections of neon signs. Hyperrealistic, more style. New Year's Eve 2006 dawned crisp. The city pulsing with false promises. Emily's wedding was set for June. But Victor's unraveling accelerated my timeline. I'd become a ghost in my own life, nights poring over encrypted files, Days smiling through brunches while wiring funds to private investigators. The $890,000 loomed like a guillotine. In life, he presented it as a generous advance on my estate, convincing Emily I was planning to retire to Florida. I'd signed, delirious from the meds he'd spiked, and watched it vanish into his slush fund. This time, I'd reclaim it with interest, plus the satisfaction of his ruin. But controversy brewed. My methods skirted edges I'd never crossed before. Hiring a hacker from a Queen's dive bar to breach Victor's emails? Gray area. Planting a bug in his briefcase during a casual lunch? Felony territory. But hell, he'd murdered me once. What was a little wiretap between frenemies? January brought the first fracture. Harlan Crow folded under SEC pressure. His Greenwich mansion seized and a dawn raid beamed live on CNBC. Victor, pale as milk, confronted me at a gala for the Met, black tie, champagne flutes clinking like accusations. You did this, he hissed in a shadowed alcove, Emily twirling obliviously on the dance floor. Ruin my father for what? Some ancient grudge. Your father? I swirled my Merlot, savoring the vintage. Harlan was a snake who tried to bankrupt us. Your real sin? Poisoning my daughter against me. But go on, blame the widow. He stepped closer, breath hot. Call off the dogs. Josephine. Marry us in June, and I walk away clean. No more games. Games? This is chess. Victor. And you're down a queen. I slipped a USB drive into his pocket, recordings of his calls to Harlan, plotting the gentle nudge toward my early exit. Leak this to the DA. And it's conspiracy to commit fraud. At minimum. His fist clenched for a heartbeat. I saw the killer, the man who'd held me under that churning Hudson water until bubbles stopped. You're playing with fire. Burn me once. Shame on you. Burn me twice? I'll bury you first. He stormed off, but the damage spread. By February, whispers circled. Victor Langford, a.k.a. Crow Jr., blackballed from 3 firms. Emily noticed. Her texts frantic. Mom, Vic's job hunting. Says rivals are gunning for him. Help. I did, subtly. A chance meeting with my old friend, Judge Harlan, no relation. And Victor's bar application hit a snag. Integrity issues, the letter read. Emily sobbed over dinner at my brownstone, mascara streaking. Why's everything falling apart? Is it me? My heart fractured. This was the controversy. The collateral. Hurting her to save her. Sweetheart, Victor's ambitious. Maybe too much. Remember your father's advice, love blinds. But ledgers reveal. She stiffened. You're not saying. I'm saying check his emails. The password's your birthday, he told me himself. Betrayal's echo. That night, she found the proof. Love notes to a paralegal. Offshore transfers siphoning her trust fund. $50K gone already. Our reconciliation call at 2 a.m. was raw. Voices cracking over the line.
Mom.
I feel so stupid. You're not. He's the fool. But as she vowed to confront him, I braced for the storm. Victor didn't slink away. He doubled down, charming her back with a Paris getaway. Second chances, he texted me smugly. Family sticks. Josephine. Not this family. March thundered in with scandals. I escalated, leaking Victor's Crow lineage to page 6. Mystery grooms mobbed up roots. The tabloids feasted. Emily's bridal shower turned into a media circus. Guests whispering behind crystal flutes. Mrs.
Kowalski.
Now my silent ally, eyed upped her pension tenfold. Fielded calls while I orchestrated from the shadows. The real blow landed mid-month, a board meeting where I discovered discrepancies in the pension fund, Victor's fixes from October, doctored to hide his schemes. $890,000, funneled to a Delaware LLC in his mother's name. Gasps rippled. My CFO, a holdover from Dad's era, slammed the table. This is embezzlement. Victor, invited as prospective VP, blanched. Josephine, this is a misunderstanding. I was optimizing. Optimizing my ruin? I stood, voice carrying like a verdict. Gentlemen, Mr. Langford's tendered his resignation. Effective immediately. Security. As they escorted him out, Emily burst in from the lobby, face crumpling.
Mom.
What the hell? Vic called, said you're framing him. The boardroom fell silent. Eyes on me, the Iron Widow. Unyielding. Darling.
Sit.
The truth's uglier than fiction. Over coffee in my office, I laid it bare. The alias. The grudge. The thefts. Documents piled like indictments. Emily's hands shook as she read. He said the $890,000 was for us, a nest egg. God. Mom. I pushed you to sign. You were in love. I cupped her face. The gesture foreign after years of estrangement in life one. But love doesn't steal. It builds. She pulled away, eyes flashing. And what about you? Digging into his past like some PI? That's not protection. That's obsession. Controversy incarnate. My decisions, hacking, leaking, manipulating, mirrored his sins. Was I avenging or becoming the villain? I did what I had to.
For you.
For me? Or for your damn legacy? She fled, slamming the door. Victor's text followed. You win this round. Which? But Emily's mine. Hurt her, and I'll drag you down with me. April bloomed with frost. Emily went radio silent, holing up in her Soho loft. Victor circled like a shark, sending flowers, voicemails laced with remorse. I countered with lawyers, a restraining order, freezing his assets, clawing back every cent. The $890,000? Repossessed via civil suit. His LLC dissolved in court. The greatest gift is if you disappear, I'd whisper to myself, twisting his words into my mantra. But the tension coiled tighter. Harlan, from his federal holding cell, reached out through a burner phone Victor smuggled. Finish what I started. Son. The hail whore took everything, take it back. I intercepted the call, bug paying dividends, and forwarded it to the feds. Conspiracy charges piled on, Victor's bail denied. Emily cracked at his arraignment, slipping into the courtroom pew beside me. I had to see, she murmured. For closure. As cuffs clicked, Victor locked eyes with me over the bar. This isn't over. Josephine. Blood for blood. Her hand found mine.
Tentative. Mom.
Thank you. I think. Redemption's whisper. Amid the chaos. May crept in. Wedding cancelled. Society buzzing. Emily moved back home. Therapy sessions unpacking the gaslighting. He made me doubt you, she confessed one rainy afternoon, curled on the terrace sofa. Said you were jealous. Controlling. I was. Once. Honesty's knife. After Dad died, I built walls. Pushed you away. Victor exploited that. She nodded, tears salting the cushions. But your walls saved me now. Twisted. Huh. Twisted indeed. My revenge teetered on bykitch, tragic irony. The board hailed me as savior. Stocks soaring 20%, but sleep evaded, haunted by Victor's glare, Harlan's venom. And the buried secret? Not just Dad's insider trade, mine. In '92, I'd pulled the trigger on that forgery, dooming an innocent exec to prison. He'd suicided inside, karma's loop, closing on me. June's solstice sun mocked the ghost ceremony Emily and I held, no Victor. Just a scattering forget-me-nots in the Hudson. To new beginnings, she toasted with iced tea. But endings loomed. Victor's trial loomed in July. A media frenzy. I testified, voice steady, unraveling his web. The hacks, the forgeries mirroring my own past sins. The prosecutor leaned in. Mrs.
Hale.
Motive. Survival, I said. And justice. As the gavel fell, 20 years, no parole. Victor lunged, screams echoing. You bitch. This is for Dad. Emily clutched my arm, but her grip loosened.
Mom.
Did you push him too far? The leaks, the bugs, was it all necessary? The question hung. Controversial core. Had I reclaimed justice or wrought vengeance's mirror? Image prompt, a sun-drenched Central Park bench at golden hour. An older woman and her adult daughter sharing a quiet laugh over coffee cups. Autumn leaves swirling gently around them against the blurred skyline, capturing fragile reconciliation and quiet triumph in warm, photorealistic style. July's swelter baked the city, but Victor's conviction chilled my bones. Sentenced in a packed federal courtroom, cameras flashing like vengeful stars, he spat curses as marshals dragged him away. Hail, blood will pay. Emily, beside me in the gallery, flinched but held firm, her hand a lifeline in the storm. Outside, paparazzi swarmed. I shielded her with my trench coat, whispering, head high, darling. We're the survivors. Survivors. Yes, but scarred. Hale Holdings thrived. The reclaimed $890,000 reinvested in Emily's startup, a design firm blending VR with urban renewal. Her passion ignited anew. Board meetings buzzed with accolades. I was the lioness, they joked. But alone in the brownstone, ghosts whispered. Rebirth hadn't erased the weight, it amplified it. Every mirror reflected not just Josephine, but the woman who danced with devils. August brought uneasy peace. Emily dated a kind barista named Theo. No pedigrees, just easy smiles. He's real, Mom, she said over gelato in Little Italy. No empires. No grudges. I nodded, throat tight. That's the best kind, but doubt gnawed. Was I projecting? My gift to her, exposing Victor, had cost her trust, her innocence. Therapy unearthed my complicity. Sessions with Dr. Leong, a no-nonsense Korean-American shrink in Midtown, peeled layers. You saved her, she'd say. But at what personal toll? This rebirth, it's a second chance. Not a redo. She was right. The twist I'd buried deepest. In pushing back to 2005, I'd altered trajectories, but not absolved sins. Dad's insider trade? I'd confessed anonymously to the SEC weeks post-rebirth, settling a $5 million fine from restitution funds. Clean slate. Or so I told myself. Harlan rotted in Leavenworth, his appeals crushed. Victor? Solitary for good behavior. But letters smuggled out hinted at plots, hitmen.
Smears.
Paranoia shadowed my steps. Bodyguards became fixtures. Mrs. Kowalski's rolls now tasted of ash. September's equinox marked a pivot. Emily proposed we road trip the Pacific coast. Big, sir. No agenda. Just mother-daughter reclamation. We packed the Lexus. Playlists of Fleetwood Mac and Springsteen blasting as we fled the concrete jungle. Highway one wound like fate's ribbon. Cliffs plunging to turquoise waves. In a Carmel cottage, fog-shrouded and salt-kissed, truths spilled over Chardonnay. Mom, she started one dusk, feet tucked under on the deck. Victor's trial. I saw you hesitate. When the judge asked about the bugs, I stared at the horizon, gulls wheeling like accusations. I crossed lines. Hacked. Leaked. Became him to beat him. She sipped. Eyes soft. But you stopped. Didn't let it consume you. That's the difference.
Was it?
The controversy lingered. My decisions, ruthless and raw, sparked debates in therapy groups. Even a Vanity Fair profile, The Widow's Web, justice or vendetta? Feminists hailed me. Ethicists decried the vigilantism. Emily,
Though, saw nuance.
you taught me strength isn't clean. It's messy, but it's ours. October circled back, the anniversary of that brunch. Now a lifetime away. We returned to Manhattan renewed, her firm launching to fanfare. I stepped back from Hale Holdings, installing Emily as CEO. Your empire now, I told her in the boardroom, keys jangling like freedom. She hugged me fierce. Ours.
Mom.
Always. But fate. That cruel jester. Twisted final. November rains lashed the city when the call came. Victor. Shivved in a prison yard brawl, Harlan's old associates. Settling scores. Dead at 38. His last words scrawled in blood. Tell Josephine. The gift returned. Emily mourned briefly. The closure bittersweet. He was broken, she said at his sparse funeral. Just us and a public defender. But so was I. Loving him. I stood silent. Rain mingling with tears. Revenge's climax, not triumph, but hollow echo. I'd reclaimed the $890,000. The company. My daughter, but at the cost of mirroring the monster.
Beakik.
Yes, happy in restoration. Tragic in reflection. December 2006 waned. Snow dusting the brownstone stoop. Emily and Theo announced their engagement over eggnog, simple, heartfelt, a courthouse affair. I gifted her dad's emerald necklace, whispering, wear it fierce, as midnight tolled on New Year's. Fireworks blooming over the Hudson. I stepped onto the terrace where it began. No railing chilled my palms, no whispers of disappearance. Just Josephine Hale. Reborn not to destroy, but to rebuild flawed, fierce, finally free. The greatest gift? Not vanishing, but visibility, seen, scars and all. And in that American grit, betrayal's ashes fertilizing new ground, I found peace. Or as close as vengeance allows.